guys, I don't know. Go ahead and enjoy this beautiful engraving. It's entitled New Haven. And it's just, really a lovely engraving here, a little pastoral scene, a little bit of water. Very nice engraving in this gorgeous book from 1865. It is entitled American Miscellany, and that's supposed to refer to all the randomness of the essays that are collected here. But I wonder, I wonder if it refers to the scattered quality of the publisher's mind. I don't know. This engraving is called New Haven, but there's nothing at all concerning New Haven in the essays before or after the engraving. So, we'll just enjoy the picture and move on. That's all it was, just to have a beautiful engraving. Why not? So, actually, the next essay that we're working on is called Government of the Temper. So, maybe that happens a lot in New Haven. I don't know. Our previous essay number 138, was called The Seen and the Unseen, a little dramatic, a little spiritual there. And now we're going into some, I guess, a morality essay. Sounds like that. So these essays are supposed to be historic and scientific. We'll see which one this is. These are from 1865, so it is always going to be quite historic. Let's see what we can learn here on page 336 of American Miscellany, essay number 139, Government of the Temper. It is observed that every temper is inclined in some degree to either passion, peevishness, or obstinacy. Many are so unfortunate as to be inclined to each of the three in turn. It is necessary, therefore, to watch the bent of our nature, and to apply the remedies proper for the infirmity to which we are most liable. With regard to the first, it is so injurious to society and so odious in itself, especially in the female character, that one would think shame alone would be sufficient to preserve a young lady from giving way to it. For it is as unbecoming her character to be betrayed into ill behavior by passion as by intoxication, and she ought to be ashamed of the one as much as of the other. Gentleness, meekness, and patience are her peculiar distinctions, and an enraged woman is one of the most disagreeable sights in nature. It is plain from experience that the most passionate people can command themselves, when they have a motive sufficiently strong, such as the presence of those they fear, or to whom they particularly desire to recommend themselves. It is therefore no excuse to persons whom you have injured by unkind reproaches and unjust aspersions to tell them you was in a passion. The allowing yourself to speak to them in a passion is a proof of an insolent disrespect, which the meanest of your fellow creatures would have a right to resent. When once you find yourself heated so far as to desire to say what you know would be provoking and wounding to another, you should immediately resolve to either be silent or to quit the room, rather than to give utterance to anything dictated by so bad an inclination. Be assured you are then unfit to reason or reprove, or to hear reason from others. It is therefore your part to retire from such an occasion of sin, and wait till you are cool before you presume to judge of what has passed. By accustoming yourself to conquer and disappoint your anger, you will, by degrees, find it grow weak and manageable, so as to leave your reason at liberty. You will be able to restrain your tongue from evil, and your looks and gestures from all expression of violence and ill will. Pride, which produces so many evils in the human mind, is the great source of passion. Whoever cultivates in himself a proper humility, a due sense of his own faults and insufficiencies, and a due respect for others, will find but small temptation to violent or unreasonable anger. In the case of real injuries, which justify and call for resentment, there is a noble and generous kind of anger, a proper and necessary part of our nature, which has nothing sinful or degrading. I would not wish you to be insensible to this, for the person who feels not an injury must be incapable of being properly affected by benefits. With those who treat you ill without provocation, you ought to maintain your own dignity. But in order to do this, while you show a sense of their improper behavior, you must preserve calmness and even good breeding, and therefore convince them of the impotence as well as the injustice of their malice. You must also weigh every circumstance with candor and charity, and consider whether your showing the resentment deserved may not produce ill consequences to innocent persons, as is almost the case in family quarrels, and whether it may not occasion the breach of some duty or necessary connection to which you ought to sacrifice even your just resentments. Above all things, take care that a particular offense to you does not make you unjust to the general character of the offending person. Generous anger does not preclude esteem for whatever is really estimable, nor does it destroy goodwill to the person of its object. It even inspires the desire of overcoming him by benefits, and wishes to inflict no other punishment than the regret of having injured one who deserved his kindness. It is always placable and ready to be reconciled as soon as the offender is convinced of his error. Nor can the subsequent injury provoke it to recur, nor can any subsequent injury provoke it to recur to past disobligations which had been once forgiven.